Hello and welcome to my track guide. This week we are in Spa-Francorchamps, quite a historic place for F1. So first of all, some quick facts. The circuit is 7 kilometers, almost on the dot, 17 kilometers long. We have 19 corners. We have 2 DRS zones, one on the Camel Straight, one on the Start-Finish Straight. We have the C3, C2, C1 tire, C3 being the softest, C1 being the hardest. With these tires, it's a comfortable one-stop from soft to medium or medium to soft. You can also do soft to hard, but the hards don't feel good on this track. Since Spa is situated in the Ardennes, rain is quite common, so make sure you have a wet setup on your backhand. Again, first of all, I'm going to show you my hot lap, then I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. After that, I'm going to show you my setup, and that's it. So I hear you in a second. Just like in Mexico, we need to think about how we approach lap before we start the lap. So keep in mind, we want to have the biggest distance between us and the finish line as possible. You want to almost go into the pits right here for a good acceleration to get the most distance between you and the finish line. If you do this, especially on Spa, it's going to give you a better acceleration and more top speed towards the end of the little straight right here. So keep in mind that there's a little bump, so you don't spin your wheels like I did right here. You need to be careful of that in the race as well, because you can easily spin out right here. Opening up the DRS, then coming to last source. You want to brake as soon as you pass this white line right here, or just before the 100 meter board. This white line is a pretty good brake marker that Jano Opme uses, so I just adapted to it and also use it now. Then you want to downshift down to second, and also go for a late turn and for a late apex, so you can get a good acceleration out of this, out of La Source. Then as you pass the apex, you want to upshift to third. Then you also want to be just before 50% on the throttle application, or at 50% at the throttle application. So then be careful again on the exit. There's a little bump right here, which can lead to you spin out. So just be mindful of that. You want to have your car as straight as possible before that bump, so you don't spin out. Then pressing the accelerator, going down Eau Rouge and Radillon. You want to be really on the limit of the track limits right here. You can see I could have pushed a bit more to the left, but you want to have your right wheel on this white line right here. You can use the strap on the inside. You shouldn't use it too much though. Then Radillon, you want to, again, you can see it was really close to an invalidation right here. You want to have the right wheel on the white line right here. Keeping it smooth is key in Eau Rouge and Radillon. If you just use a bit too much steering input, you're going to lose a ton of time down the Camel Straight. Then opening up the DRS for the Camel Straight. For Lecomte, there is no real brake marker, so you want to just brake in between the 150 meter board at the 75 meter mark. You want to take as much entry curb right here. That's pretty much key for this first part of Lecomte. Then, as you are downshifting, you can do this corner section in fifth to give you a bit more stability, or you can do it in fourth to give you a bit more rotation and a bit more of a twitchy rear end, basically, to get you around the corners. You want to ride as much curb right here as possible. You can also put the right hand side wheel on this green AstroTurf. Then as you're in between those two corners, you can upshift to fifth to give you a bit more stability. Again, you want to ride as much curb right here as possible. You can see my right wheel almost touching the white line. It should be touching the white line, but I didn't do that in this lap. Then really just brake, not brake, but just play with the throttle and brake application to these two corners, because that's where most people lose a lot of time if they don't do that. You can also play with the front brake bias through the first part, put it to 52%, and you should have a more stable rear end. I actually did that in the laps previously, but then I changed the setup a bit, and now it's pretty good. Now, coming down to Malmedy, you want to really just send the car through here. You want to cut as much curb as possible. You can even go on the grass a little bit. There is no actual grass. There's a bit of tarmac shit going on right here. Then really send it through here. Just be careful right here. That's a place where a lot of people spin out. You can use this curb on the outside to help you with that. Then down to Brussels. You want to, this is really important for this corner, you want to brake right here. Like at the start of the curb, it's probably the latest you can stop braking. Because if you brake after that, you're going to lock up with the front tires. So since we have a lot of weight on the front tires, and this is pretty much the only even ground, you need to brake before the track goes downhill. So do your most of your braking right here, and then just try to drail brake into this corner. Really important though, you see me wash out a bit wide. This corner is an on-camber corner, so you want to stay on the inside to help you a bit with traction. This really bit me in the ass, because you see how far I'm away from the racing line. This really cost me probably half a tenth. And also having a big moment on this right here, there's also a little bump, so you need to be careful of that, not to put the power down too much. Then through no name, you want to take this entry curb again and really just send it through here up to 6th for a bit more stability and a bit more rotation that you need, because the car really tends to understeer sometimes. You can also use this curb on the inside, which didn't do right here, like go on the green stuff and then also upshift to 6th. Then coming through double gauche or Puhorn, you can use this curb right here as well, just like the corners before. You basically want to maximize the track to get the most amount of time. Before you pass this shack, you want to turn in, you want to lift off a bit, then go on the power as early as possible. When you feel like the rear is going to step out, you can upshift to 8th. That gives you a good stability. Then keeping it really tight right here. At Le Fagny, you want to brake as soon as the curb, or just after the curb on the left hand side starts. You want to use again this curb right here to give you a bit more time to turn left for the following part. So just make sure to use all of the curb on these two parts right here. The car likes to wash out right here, so just play with the throttle, be a bit more careful, because it's easy to spin out right here. Then also don't go out too wide right here. That's a problem I've encountered a lot. Try to keep your middle of your car on this white line. Then coming to Campus, you want to brake as soon as this left hand side curb starts. Then you want to just touch that curb on the inside, but also be a bit careful on the throttle, because it's easy to invalidate here. You're going to get a lot of track penalties here. It's no use actually staying on the left out of a white line. If you do that in the race, you're still going to get a warning. Then coming through Campus, flat out corner, you can't really do anything wrong right here. You just want to stay tight to the right. Then coming to Blanchimont, again, just stay as tight as possible to the left right here. And now coming to the bus stop. So you want to brake at the 100-meter board, downshift down to second gear. You really want to drail brake into this corner. You want to also clip as much curb as possible right here. Be careful, don't cut too much because this orange curb likes to spin your rear around very much. So just be mindful of that. In between the bus stop chicane, you want to also just blip the gas to like 50% to give you a good boost forwards. Then you want to go for a late apex, upshift up to third to give you a bit more stability, which is important right here. There are two bumps one right here and one right here, so just make sure to accelerate fully accelerate in between those. Then opening up the DRS and stay as tight to the finish line as possible, and that is a 140.8. A thing to note is that the bus stop chicane in this game basically looks like a toy track. The track in general looks like a toy track in comparison to the real thing. If you've driven ACC, you will find quite some differences to this version and the ACC version, which is laser scanned. Just putting it out there to throw some shaded code masses, but yeah. Let's quickly talk about my setup. I'm running 2.5 wings, which feel pretty good because you need low downforce on this track. Transmission 50-53 for a bit more rotation in Brussels. Then right, left, left. You can also go right, left, left, left. Suspension is 2.9, 2.10, 2.3. The right height is 2.3, which helps really just your rear being stable. Also 2.9, 2.10, which helps you with the oversteering nature of this setup. Then as we're coming to brakes, it's 150 and tires all on the minimum. You could bump up the tire pressures a tiny bit to get a little bit more top speed, but in my opinion, it's not really worth it. Thank you for watching and hopefully you have learned something. I'm Fraser and I hope we will see each other on the racetrack.